Hi everyone, my name is Sofia Di Sarno Garcia and I'm an assistant lecturer at the Universidad Politécnica de Madrid in Spain. Today I will be presenting the role of virtual exchange in emotional intelligence, preliminary results from an engineering context. This is the table of contents that I will be presenting today. So first, I will introduce the background of the study, then we will see the methodology, including the participants, the instruments, the tasks, and the data analysis procedure. Then I will draw some preliminary results, as I mentioned in the title, and finally I will draw some conclusions and recommendations for future research. So this virtual exchange experience involved two different universities. The first was the Polytechnic University of Madrid, and the second a German technical university. And the project lasted 5 different weeks. What is more, this project is framed within the SOCIOEMOVE project, which is aimed at developing learners' socio-emotional skills, and also within an innovative education project coordinated by the Polytechnic University of Madrid, which is aimed at developing learners' intercultural communicative competence through synchronous and asynchronous activities. Moving on to the methodology, the participants were 13 engineering students from the Polytechnic University of Madrid, as I mentioned before, of which 4 were females and 9 were males. They were aged between 20 and 29, and they were all students from the 3rd or most of them the 4th year. Although they did not have to hand in any certificate, the recommended level of English to participate in this experience was a B2 level according to the Common European Framework for Reference. Now turning to the instruments, the main tool that we used were a pre and post test, which was composed of 10 questions aimed at gathering demographical and general information about the participants. So for instance, they were asked if they had participated in a virtual exchange project before. Then 30 items on a 5-point Likert scale, which inquire about learners' feelings and emotions, and one open-ended question about their expectations about this virtual exchange experience. While turning to the synchronous sessions, students used Zoom during 2 weeks and Gather during 2 weeks, which is a virtual immersive platform, while for the asynchronous sessions, they employed Padlet to carry out some discussions, as we will see later on in the presentation. So I would like now to focus on Gather, which is, as I said before, an immersive virtual platform which, to our knowledge, has not been used in virtual exchanges so far. So as you can see, learners can create an avatar of themselves. So here in the picture, you can see my own avatar, and they can move within different spaces. So they can join different tables, different activities. They are allowed to create Google Drive documents, for instance, and they can also play some games. So we wanted to compare also the differences between using Zoom and using Gather for the synchronous Zoom sessions, although it is not the purpose of this presentation to delve into this comparison. Now turning to the tasks that students had to complete within this project. First, they were given a Padlet with instructions, which is the picture above that you can see here in the slide, and all the instructions were separated within different weeks. So the project lasted 5 weeks and students had to engage in both synchronous and asynchronous tasks during 4 weeks, because the first week was provided as an introductory week. And as you can see, what they had to do during this week was an icebreaker to get to know each other. So they had to upload either a video or a picture of themselves and a short text presenting themselves, as you can see in the second picture below the slide. Regarding Padlet, learners had to participate in 2 different asynchronous cultural discussions, which lasted 2 weeks each. So the first one was about the cultural differences between Germany and Spain in the job market, while the second was about the similarities and differences between Germany and Spain from a historical point of view. Regarding Zoom and Gather, They also had to carry out different tasks. So within Zoom, they carried out a task about cultural dimensions and corporate culture. So these would be week 2 and 3, while during week 4 and 5, learners had to carry out a task regarding English as an international language and a comparison of university culture through Gather. Concerning the data analysis, the aim of this first stage of the study was to draw a comparison between the results obtained in the pre and post test to see whether learners perceived their emotional intelligence had improved after participating in the virtual exchange. So to do that, we calculated the descriptive and inferential statistics of both the pre and post test, and we also carried out a Saphir-Wilk test to see if the data was normally distributed. And as it was not, because we had less than 30 students, we carried out a Wilcoxon test for paired samples. Moving on to the results, and in particular the descriptive and inferential statistics, the descriptive statistics did not reveal statistically significant results. Despite this, the mean score of the pre-test compared to the mean score of the post-test reveals a general tendency of improvement in most of the items. While turning to the inferential statistics, the Wilcoxon test reveals statistically significant results in the following items. I understand my moods and feelings, and I can read people's faces when they are angry. Regarding the open-ended questions of the pre and post test, which inquired about learners' expectations, in the pre-test, they mentioned expectations about academic and language learning. They also talk about the intercultural dimension, and they express their willingness to socialize and make friends, as well as to personally grow. This is reflected in the post-test, which means that their expectations were met, as they mentioned having gained confidence in their foreign language, which in this case was English. They also mentioned having learned something about their partner's culture, so this would be intercultural learning, and finally, personal development and enjoyment. Now turning to the conclusions and recommendations, the findings reveal students' general tendency to identify their feelings and emotions in virtual exchange, despite not being statistically significant. For this reason, it is suggested that analyzing the qualitative data would be recommendable in order to triangulate the qualitative data and quantitative data. For this reason, more research on language learners' feelings and emotional intelligence in virtual exchange should be conducted. I would like to thank Dr. Ana Sevilla Pavón and Dr. Margarita Vinagre Laranjeira, as they are the coordinators of the SOCIOEMOVE project, which is funded by the Spanish Ministry of Science and Innovation. And as I mentioned before, this virtual exchange experience is framed within this project, as well as within an innovation project which was awarded by the Polytechnic University of Madrid. So we would like to thank also this university. We have now reached the end of my presentation, so I would like to thank you for your attention, and if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me via email.